Okay, let's try something. Close your eyes for a second. Picture this. The year is 1822. You're on the deck of a ship.
Yep.
Wooden ship, sea spray, and all around you, there's this buzz, this energy from hundreds of people, hopeful settlers. And every single one of them has put like everything they own into this trip. They're holding these papers, these deeds, promising this amazing future.
Right. Their ticket to paradise.
Exactly. They're sailing to a place called Poyais. And the stories they've heard, I mean, that sound incredible. Fertile land, rivers just choked with gold, a capital city, St. Joseph, with like grand streets, an opera house, a parliament, a whole port waiting for them.
What sounds like the dream, really.
It was a dream. They sold literally everything for this shot, convinced this was it, their big chance. But the ship anchors. Humid day, maybe. You take that first step onto land at that dream. It doesn't just shatter, it kind of vanishes instantly. There's no city, no port, no roads, nothing. Just thick jungle, swamp. And it's quiet, except for maybe insects.
That horrible silence when you expect noise.
Yeah. And then this dawning horror. You've been lied to. Like profoundly, massively lied to. And that right there, that sets the scene for one of history's biggest and honestly most tragic cons. Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're diving into the city that never existed. We're going to look at how one guy, just one man, could basically invent an entire country.
Just conjure it up.
Right, conjure it up. Build this story around it so well that hundreds of people didn't just believe it. They bet their lives, their money, everything on it being real. So yeah, let's unpack this.
What's really fascinating here, I think, is just how completely a vision, right? A promise that was basically just words could totally override reality for so many people.
Yeah.
This wasn't just a simple lie. It was this whole fantasy world built piece by piece that grabbed hold of people's hopes and just led them to disaster. The scale of it, the sheer nerve involved, it's pretty astonishing. And it tells you a lot about that specific time in history, how something like this could even happen.
Absolutely. And the man pulling the strings, the architect of it all, was Gregor MacGregor. So let's start there. Who was this guy? What kind of person dreams up something on this scale?
Well, Gregor MacGregor, he was born in Scotland, 1786. Came from a, decent family, but not rolling in money or anything. But modest wasn't really his style, apparently.
You can tell.
Definitely ambitious, driven. He joined the British Army when he was just 16, pretty young. And he did well, actually. Rose through the ranks pretty quickly, got decorated.
Okay, so he had this early military success. That already suggests a certain, maybe, charisma.
Yeah.
Or ambition, definitely. But then he makes this big move, right, to South America.
Yeah, that's where things get really interesting. He heads off to South America, which at the time, was all revolutions, colonies, fighting Spain for independence, big stuff happening.
Right.
And he gets involved. He actually fought under Simon Bolivar, the liberator himself.
Wow.
So he builds this reputation. Daring soldier, man of action. But, and this is kind of crucial, some historians look back and think, well, maybe his stories were a little exaggerated.
Embellished, perhaps.
Let's just say embellished, yeah, for effect. But anyway, he comes back to Britain around the early 1820s, and he's got the stories, he's made connections, he definitely has a flair for drama, and, well, it turns out a real knack for deception. So what was it about London then? Why was that the place to launch this fantasy?
Well, when he got back to London, he didn't just market himself as a war hero. Oh, no.
Yeah.
He arrived presenting himself as basically royalty, a ruler.
Seriously?
Yeah. He announced he'd been made the cacique of Poyais.
Cacique. What is that exactly?
It's a native term, basically means a prince or a chief of a territory. And his territory, Poyais, was this supposedly rich little spot on the Mosquito Coast. Think modern Honduras, Nicaragua area.
So he didn't just claim some land, he claimed he was the ruler of a nation there. How on earth did he make anyone believe that? How did he make it seem real? He painted this picture, an absolute utopia. Poyais was, according to him, a land of just endless opportunity. The soil, so fertile, crops grew year-round, almost by themselves. The rivers, full of gold, just there for the taking. And the capital, St. Joseph, wasn't just some outpost. No, it was described as this thriving city. Grand boulevards, parliament, an opera house, even a banking district.
An opera house in the jungle.
An opera house. He was aiming high. It was designed to appeal to absolutely everyone, from a farmer wanting land to a banker wanting investments. And connecting this back, it wasn't just talk, it was a meticulously built fantasy. He backed it up. He started issuing these official-looking land certificates.
Okay, actual deeds.
Looked like actual deeds for plots in Poyais. Then he sold Poyais government bonds, and people bought them. He raised, what would be millions in today's money.
Wow.
And the real kicker, he published this guidebook, a big one, 355 pages long.
355 pages for a fake country.
Yep. Full of incredibly vivid descriptions. Lush forests, amazing farmland, stable government, friendly natives. The works. You read this thing, and Poyais felt completely real.
That's dedication to the lie, isn't it?
It really is. More detailed than some real travel guides, probably. For a lot of people back then, especially with the economy shaky after the Napoleonic Wars, it just sounded too good an opportunity to miss.
And clearly, they didn't miss it. By late 1822, this dream, this Poyais thing, it's actually happening. People are getting on ships. Two of them, the Honduras packet and the Kennersley Castle, loaded up with over 200 settlers.
Men, women, children.
Yeah, all sorts. Lots of working class families, farmers, tradespeople, just desperate for their own piece of land, a chance to get ahead. But also, apparently, some more ambitious types, lured by the gold talk.
The entrepreneurs looking for a quick fortune.
Right. Imagine being on that ship. The excitement must have been off the charts. People talking, planning.
Oh, absolutely. They'd have read that guidebook cover to cover, wouldn't they?
That's true.
They knew what St. Joseph supposedly looked like. They were picturing their new homes, their farms.
And they felt secure because they had the paperwork, these official deeds, the documents with MacGregor's seal, letters of safe passage.
Everything looked legit, totally believable. Why would they doubt it?
Exactly. But what was waiting for them? It wasn't paradise. It was, something else entirely.
So the first ship arrives, the Honduras packet, weeks at sea. People are lining the rails, right? Looking for St. Joseph, the city from the book.
Expecting to see docks, buildings.
Exactly, but there's nothing. No docks, no warehouses, no grand boulevards, just jungle. Dense, swampy jungle right up to the coast, like a green wall. No roads, no farms, no sign anyone had ever lived there, let alone built a city.
Gosh, that must have been just a gut punch. Stepping off this ship into that. How did they even react in those first hours, those first days?
Well, first probably confusion, right? Are we in the right place? Did the captain miss it?
Maybe it's just inland a bit.
That was the hope for some. Maybe St. Joseph is just hidden behind the trees. But pretty quickly that confusion must have turned to, dread. As they looked around, explored a bit, the horrible truth started sinking in.
No city.
No city, no Poyais, just empty land. And worse, no supplies waiting, no officials, no houses, nothing they were promised. They were just stranded in this completely alien, hostile place, food running low, no way to call for help. That gap between the dream and the reality must have been just crushing.
But humans cling to hope, don't they? Especially when the alternative is unthinkable. Did they try to make a go of it?
They did initially. Some still believed the city had to be nearby, maybe further inland. Groups went out trying to hack through the jungle, searching for any sign of this promised colony.
But found nothing.
Found nothing. And then things went downhill really, really fast. They weren't equipped for the tropics. Diseases hit: hard malaria, yellow fever. They had no proper shelter, bad water, no medicine. The death toll just started climbing rapidly. It became a fight for pure survival.
So these people who trusted everything MacGregor said, they're now fighting for their lives in this place he just invented. It's horrific. What happened in the end? Did anyone get out?
It's incredibly bleak. By the time British ships eventually showed up, alerted by some desperate messages that somehow got out, it was too late for many. More than half of the original settlers were dead.
More than half.
Yeah. The survivors were in terrible shape. Emaciated, sick, completely traumatized. Their dreams weren't just shattered, their lives were ruined. They were rescued, taken to Belize, Jamaica. But the cost was immense. Financially, physically, mentally. It wasn't just a scam. It was a full-blown human tragedy. And MacGregor, while all this horror is unfolding...
Let me guess. Enjoying himself back in London.
Pretty much. Safely back in Britain, counting the money he'd made. When the news eventually broke about what happened, the deaths, the suffering... he just denied responsibility.
How? How could he possibly deny it?
Oh, he blamed other people, dishonest agents, he said, or, political enemies trying to sabotage his brilliant colonial project. Just deflected everything.
It's just... The audacity is breathtaking. He causes this disaster, people die, and he just blames others. Did he ever face any real consequences? Surely someone went after him.
You'd think so, right? There was huge public anger when the stories came out. But MacGregor was slippery. Incredibly so. He actually managed to avoid any serious long-term punishment in Britain for the Poyais disaster.
He got away with it.
Largely, yes. He then fled to France. And get this, he tried the exact same scam again in France. Started issuing new Poyais bonds.
No. You're kidding.
Not kidding. Astonishing, isn't it? The French authorities did eventually catch on, and that second attempt fell apart. But again, he mostly avoided serious jail time. He ended up living out his final years in Venezuela, died there in 1845. A wealthy man.
Wealthy and unpunished.
Wealthy and largely unpunished for causing hundreds of deaths and ruining countless lives. It's a really stark example of how a master manipulator, even when the evidence seems overwhelming, can sometimes just slip through the cracks. Especially back then, maybe.
So, okay, we have to circle back to this. Given the lies, the terrible outcome, MacGregor's escape.
How?
How did so many people, settlers, investors, fall for it? Why did they believe in a country that literally didn't exist on any map?
I think you have to put yourself back in the early 19th century. For most Europeans, Central and South America were still these vast, unknown places.
And mysterious, maybe romanticized?
Exactly. Full of rumors, stories about incredibly fertile land, easy gold, new nations just starting up, desperate for settlers and investment. It was this sort of information vacuum, really. Perfect for someone like MacGregor to step into and fill with his own story.
And MacGregor himself, he played his part perfectly, didn't he? He had the charisma, the military background.
Absolutely. He wasn't just some random guy. He was Colonel Gregor MacGregor, hero of the South American Wars, friend of Bolivar, or so he claimed. He exuded confidence, and then he had the props. That incredibly detailed guidebook, the official-looking certificates with seals, the bonds traded on the stock exchange, it all lent this air of legitimacy.
It looked real.
It looked completely real. So if you were a struggling working-class family in Scotland or England, desperate for a better life after years of war and hardship.
Or a rich investor looking for the next big thing.
Right. Poyais just seemed like this golden opportunity, the perfect answer. It was this perfect storm, really. Desperate hope meeting a very convincing, very calculated lie in a world where checking the facts was incredibly difficult.
Yeah, the Poyais scheme really does go down as one of the most, well, audacious frauds in history. Just brazen. Hundreds died, families were destroyed, all for a place that was pure fiction.
And yet the man behind it all, MacGregor, just walks away, more or less.
He does. Smooth, calculating, apparently without much remorse. He evaded any real justice. And what's so striking, I think, is just the power of that fabricated reality. How a story told well enough with enough fake proof can literally become more real, more powerful than the actual verifiable truth for so many people, especially when that truth is far away and hard to see for yourself. It's more than just a wild history story, isn't it? MacGregor and his non-existent city. It's kind of a cautionary tale about how easily hope can be twisted, weaponized even.
Definitely. It shows how that promise of a better life, that deep human desire for opportunity, can sometimes make us blind. Blind to warning signs, blind to the need for real proof.
Poyais never existed. But the story, the tragedy, it definitely exists as this stark reminder about, questioning things, especially grand promises, which maybe leads to a final thought. We live in an age now that's just flooded with information, right? Nonstop. New opportunities, new schemes popping up online every day. How do we, today, tell the difference between a genuine promise and just another elaborate illusion? How do we make sure we're not, in our own way, setting sail for a city that never existed? Something to think about, maybe.